Well, hello there, everyone. It is Friday, November the 19th, year 2021. Hopefully, this finds you doing well. Sorry, that's my mud water. Just made a cup. Anyway, yesterday I made a video you may have liked on the magic of real estate. Every single thing I said in there, to my knowledge, is correct from my mind. Okay. And always, if I ever make mistakes, it's my mistake, and I apologize. And remember, I'm not a CPA, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a financial attorney. And please subscribe, please like my videos, please feel free to comment, and please feel free to share them. What I'm going to talk about today is, we can call it different things: the dangers of real estate, the horror stories of real estate, and maybe we'll stick with the horror stories of real estate. Because if you are a non-real estate owner, non-rental property owner, you may hear just voices out there that will say something like, oh, if you're a landlord, you get 3 a.m. phone calls, clogged toilets, termites, termites, tenants. You get problems with those 3 things, okay? All right, so here is what I experienced. I bought 25 rental units in 4 years. I bought my first one, it's getting close to 5 years ago, so we'll say 25 units that I've had in 5 years. I've had it 26 because I had a house that I then sold. Okay, so 26 different units. All right. In a nutshell, because I can't cover every single thing, but I'll start with the very first tenant I ever got in my very first house. I was not using a property manager, I was using myself. I didn't know what I was doing. I had not read any book, I had not watched any YouTube channel, I had not done any research at all. I just basically bought the house, got the tenant, and fell hook, line, and sinker for a scam artist. And so anyway, I got a little bit of money in the very beginning, and then I never got another cent, I don't think, if I remember right. So once we went 2 months without rent or something like that, I did all the necessary steps to serve her and to get her evicted, which I did. It went all the way down. We went to court. After court, it took another 2-3 weeks for the sheriff's department to come give their 24-hour notice where they would do the set out. And then it was countdown to the last 24 days, and she left the last hour was like 9:30 in the morning. She left at like 7:30 in the morning or something like that. It came down to the last minute. It stressed me out. It gave me a medical problem. I ended up going to the doctor for it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, above and beyond that, I have, in no particular order, I have put I think 2 roofs on rental properties. 3 roofs on rental properties. I put at least 3 roofs on rental properties, maybe even 4. I lose track. I have replaced probably 10 toilets at least. I have replaced, I think, at least 1 sewer line in a backyard. I have replaced appliances. I have replaced faucets, sinks, water lines, breaker box in a house. I've had sewer lines routed out from roots growing in them numerous times. I've had lines unclogged from tenants clogging them up, where then, even though I had to pay, the tenant paid by me putting the bill on their rent on the next month. I've had tenants not get along with each other when they've been close together, like in my triplex. Let's see, what else? I've dealt with water leaks that have happened where in my triplex, gone from upstairs to downstairs, a water leak where it's affecting 2 different apartments and a potential 3rd apartment. I've had problems with trees in 3 different states where I've had to cut trees down. And then I've had problems with property managers. In Alabama, I am on my 3rd property manager, and I really don't like how they're doing things. In Indiana, I'm on my 2nd property manager, and the biggest problem I have with them is communication. I have found communication is a problem with a lot of property managers. My impression of my current property managers are that they communicate better with the tenants and with the vendors, the contractors they use, and that they sort of kind of forget about us landlords, because in my group, we all use the same one kind of, and we all have the same problem. It's lack of communication. And so it's not just me, it's others. And that's not good. I'll give you an example. I got in an email for my rents for the month of November just yesterday. And when I look at it, it's like, what? This is a lower rent amount than I've ever gotten. Ever. once I've had so many rentals from that state, from that property manager. And it's like, what is going on? So I skimmed through it real quick and I was like, zero, like no rent at all from this house, no rent at all from this house, half rent from another house, and then less rents from other places. And I was like, the zero rents. I know I can look up if there's like $100 missing. They might have told me about it, or I can look up on the website, maybe a sewer was routed out or something like that. When it's 50% of the rent being given, and I looked that up and it's like supplies. What supplies? It was like $500. What? They did not notify me about this, unless I forget. But I looked through my emails, I didn't have an email on it. But the zero rent, I was not expecting zero rent on 2 properties. How hard is it? And I'm going to tell my property manager to watch this. How hard is it for one of the 2, it's a husband-wife couple, to contact me in advance and say, hey, Mazske, X and Y tenants have not paid rent this month. This is what we're doing. Crickets. Nothing. As of last night and again this morning, I have instructed them to start eviction on one particular house, and potentially a second one, and potentially a third one. Crickets. No response from either one. It's like, what are they doing? Obviously, they know I'm unhappy. So if someone's unhappy with me and I'm like in a business relationship, I'm going to try to smooth it out with them. I'm not getting anything. Crickets. So I'm wondering, and my whole mastermind group has debated this, I think, about looking for other property managers. I'm wondering, do I get a different property manager? Because if I do it, if other members of my group do it, that's like 50 or 60 houses that we could, if we move to a different property manager, it's going to put a financial hurting on them. That's less income they're getting. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. But I've also had, now I won't beat a dead horse, I've also had issues when I've dealt with contractors on my own, because I self-managed in one state, property managed in 2 other states. Self-managing, I've had trouble with vendors, contractors. I've been scammed by a plumber. I've had other ones give me prices and then things change and that. I've had trouble getting the work completed, like it'll get half done and then completed. But then I've had success stories. So with all this being said, refer to my video yesterday. Real estate is still magic. It can create a lot of wealth. But in the process of creating that wealth, you will deal with a lot of stuff over time. And you may not deal with everything I've dealt with, but you may deal with more than what I've dealt with. So be aware of that. So if you're buying a rental property, also, I didn't say this yesterday, I've said it in other videos, always try to have reserves built up. Say if you find out one of your houses need a roof, it might be $5,000. Say it needs to have a tree cut down, it might be $2,500. Say it needs a breaker box replaced, it might be $1,500, okay? And then say it needs sewer lines routed out, it might be $80, $100, $120, whatever. So there's always something, all right? Then there's the human element. If you self-manage, you have to find your own tenants, you have to screen them, you got to advertise your property, you got to market your property, and so on and so on. And if there's tenant issues, you got to deal with it. If there's contractors, you got to deal with the contractors. So it's much, much, much easier to use property managers. Okay, so I'm not slamming any of my property managers. I would not want to be a property manager. They hear it from the landlords, they hear it from the tenants, they hear it from the contractors, and they're in the middle. Okay. All I ask for all of my property managers and all the states I own properties is to communicate with me. That's all I ask. If you tell me, and I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but if you tell me on the rent's late after the 5th, if you tell me by the 10th, hey, just FYI, these 2 tenants haven't paid rent yet, we're still trying to get it from them, or they're saying they can't pay. You just tell me something, you communicate. When they don't communicate, they may not realize this, but they may get fired, okay? Property managers work for the landlord. They forget that at times. The landlords pay them. That means we're paying them, okay? So if it's the boss, you think you would listen to the boss. I'm actually an easy type guy in regards to that. If someone shoots me an email or a text and says, hey, Maskey, these tenants haven't paid this month, I don't like it, but I'm not going to vent to the property managers when they don't tell me. It's that lack of communication. That's where you push one of my buttons where I will vent to them. Because it's wrong. It's just wrong to not communicate. We are the bosses, and I don't say this ever to them. I'll tell them to watch this video. The landlords are the boss, okay? So property managers, respect your landlords. Your door's open for tenants to walk in, your phone rings for tenants, but you don't respond to your bosses. You got to tweak your system. You got to tweak your system, okay? I'm not saying I'm going to fire any of my 2 current property managers. I might have said that, but I don't want to fire them because it's hard to find a replacement, okay? But maybe I'll tell the ones in both states to watch this. It's just like learn how to communicate. That's all. As landlords, that's what we ask for. And get your systems in place. Pick a day when you're going to send rent out. And if it's the 3rd Wednesday of the month, you send it on the 3rd Wednesday of the month. If it's the whatever day, the 25th of the month, you send it on the 25th. You don't say one thing and do another. You pick something, you be consistent, you get a system in place so you get it done. And that's it. So anyway, that's some of the horror stories of owning rental property. I know I've harped a bit on property managers because you got to deal with them, and they're the insulation between you and your tenant. So if they're not the perfect fit, you either got to train your property manager or you got to find a new one. It's just how it is with doing business in real estate. All right, y'all take care. Stay safe. It's hot in here. The air conditioner hasn't been kicking on because the temperature's cooled down, but I got the fan on, but it's still hot in here. All right, y'all stay safe. Mazske is signing out.